Hi, gracious afternoon to all those who are watching me across the states in Nigeria. They say governance will never have an end. A new era will always lead to another continuation of governance. And of course, the center and the focal point of all governance system is to protect humans and of course make the future a better one. Again, I welcome you to another interesting edition of Real Talk with Kike. I remain your convener, your chief host, your executive producer, your script writer, name it. You know, I wear many caps on this platform. My name remains Kike Atanda-Owo. I think it's important for us to hear what on this day in history segment asks for us. And when I return, I give my own 2 cents on it. Please stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me. My takeaway from on this day in this segment is about Olobiri, a movie that was adapted or adopted from the historical events and the rich region in the Niger Delta, you know, which focuses on oil. Oil was discovered here in the 50s, and when we look at the developments in this region till date, you know, in terms of tracking all that has happened thus far, I just feel that there's this entitlement mentality from oil-rich regions that has made, you know, youth they're less productive because they often wait for that national cake of oil rather than, you know, focusing on their self-development or self and career development. Maybe that's what to use right there. I think that's my take on this day in history segment. I think it's time for a quick message from my sponsors, those who have put me on this platform. Let's get the message from them, and when I return, I dive straight to the topic at hand. Stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me. Donald Trump's inauguration on January 20th, 2025 marked a historical political comeback as he was sworn in as the 47th president of the United States. His return to the White House carries significant implications for global geopolitics, trade, and of course international relations with particular focus on Africa's economic and political landscape. You know, Trump's American First agenda is expected to prioritize domestic concern over international engagement. This could lead to reduced U.S. involvement in multilateral organization, altering global diplomacy and security diplomacy, I beg your pardon. And trade policies under Trump are likely to reflect, you know, the protectionist tendencies, you know, potentially escalating tensions with major economies like China and the EU. And of course, with ripple effects across global markets, a reverse of Biden-era climate commitment may weaken international effort to combat climate change, especially in vulnerable regions. On the live show today, I have a distinguished guest whose career as a diplomat and of course a public servant highlighting the pivotal roles in facilitating the peace in Sierra Leone, advancing Nigerians' foreign relations, and of course, promoting socio-economic development in Africa. My Real Talk will explore, Donald Trump's swearing and, of course, the implications for the world and Africa at large. I will dive deep into critical issues like Africa's strategic importance and, of course, the global alliance and youth-driven development during Donald Trump's administration. Again, I want to say many thanks to my guests for creating time to be here today. But before I usher in my guest, I think it's important for us to, play his profile. Is a distinguished guest who has been on this platform a couple of times, and I do not take that for granted. So let's get his profile, and when we come back, you agree with me that he's the right person to throw light on the topic at hand. Stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me. Let me use this opportunity to quickly usher in my guest. Welcome to the show, Ambassador Joe Keshi. It's an honor, a pleasure to have you on Real Talk with Kike today, this new year. Let me say Happy New Year to you, sir. Are you there, sir?
Yes, and Happy New Year to you, too.
Many thanks again for creating time to be here. Again, I say compliment of the season. Sir, let's drive straight to the topic at hand. Some presidents, achieved the feat of running 2 terms, but no president has come to office after losing to the Democrats and winning against them within 10 years. It speaks volume of, in my own words, either its credibility and confidence of Americans to take America forward, or maybe their disappointment in Biden's administration that Americans have just, despaired in. What are your thoughts with this question in terms of the 10 years gap in which he has gone, making him the 45th president and the 47th president of America?
Well, it's a combination of both. It's a combination of both. The Biden administration, to its credit, did reasonably well. But I sometimes think that due to, inflation, the rising cost of living, many Americans elected or chose to ignore some of the achievement of that of the president, of President Biden. And that's one side of the story. The other side of the story, of course, is that Donald Trump felt completely that he was being persecuted and decided to use the occasion, to fight his way back to power. And that's exactly what he has done. So it's a combination of both. The fact that, he didn't want to go to jail to start with, because he had so many legal issues. And he thought that the only way to avoid going to jail was to find a way to return back to the presidency, and God helping him, he's done that today. And he did that by a combination of factors, but most of them by, old issues, and I'm trying to find the right words now. The nature of his campaign is quite unusual, he doesn't care what he says. He lies about everything. He amplifies issues, and of course he dipped into the anger of certain group of Americans, particularly the uneducated white Americans, and that propelled him back to power.
Thanks for that submission right there. But sir, I like when you mentioned, talking about the legal issues that he has on ground. But away from that, when we look at the immediate policies taken by presidents on their first day in power, it translates differently in different countries. I don't know if I should bring Nigeria to fore right now. Trump taking anti-immigration policies like birthright citizenship to protect his country. How does that translate to well thought out and non-calculated policies like fuel subsidy removal in our own country in terms of policy implementations?
Well, that itself, I think, is a constitutional issue, and I won't be surprised if there are, people decide as well as to the Supreme, to the Supreme Court. But look, these are some of the things he has said he would do. He campaigned on these issues, and so you could actually say that he's trying to satisfy his base. Now, whether they become reality and whether they are executable or can be executed, we just need to wait and see. But the truth of the matter is that, I said somewhere else this morning that Trump is more aspirational than inspirational. So all what he has done is just to, effect his campaign promises. But some of them are really going to be difficult to implement, and some of them will face legal challenges. But guess what? We just have to wait and see.
We just have to wait and see. While I agree with you, because there's more to come in the coming years. But world leaders have begun, congratulating Biden. We quite understand that not all leaders will be happy to have Trump in power, but his allies will definitely be. But what do you think of the trajectory of diplomatic relations within different countries like Russia, like China and Mexico, which I feel shares borders with America?
Trump is disrupting the good neighborliness relationship between America, Mexico, and Canada. It has always been the policy of the United States to maintain good neighborliness with these two countries, their immediate neighbors. And you need to see the volume of trade between Mexico and the United States, as well as the volume of trade between Canada and the United States. As a matter of fact, as a rule of the thumb, most often, every new president in America, the first tour out of America is to either go to Canada or to go to Mexico. But definitely they will do one or the other, but they will do the two before they venture into Europe, before they start thinking of other parts of the world. But Trump is not in a hurry to talk to them. As a matter of fact, he has just said that from February 1st, he's going to impose, I think, a 25% tariff on all goods from Mexico and from Canada. And that itself will strain the relationship between these, between the United States and its immediate neighbors. I do not think it's a wise thing to do, because that itself will also possibly increase inflation in the United States. And that's where he's going to run into some, problems, and people will begin to wonder whether they had not made a mistake in bringing him back. But there are other issues that will contribute to what I've just said.
I quite understand the perspective where you're coming from. But let me tilt towards what I stumbled on before coming into the studio an hour ago, when Time magazine, dubbed Trump's second coming as a disruption, just to buttress your perspective about how you'll be viewed, because he personally stated that at the beginning of the golden age, U.S.-Africa relations, you know, in terms of the critiques that have been argued regarding Trump's American first policy that have neglected, you know, Africa's strategic importance. So my question to you right now is how do you think his second term, you know, will reshape trade, immigration, and diplomatic ties with African nations? And the reason why I'm also bringing this to fore quickly before we go on a break is, you know, in May 2023, you know, Biden warned, you know, Uganda that they may face, you know, sanctions if anti-gay law not repelled, you know, in terms of the Uganda president, I think Museveni, if I pronounce the name properly, that signed legislation that criminalizes, you know, this identity with LGBTQ and imposes severe punishment for violations that are related to same-sex relations, including the possibility of the death penalty. Now, Donald Trump says that there will be only two genders, you know, either male or female, which is one of the policies that I like the most, if I'm to have an opinion right now. How would that sit with the LGBTQ member in the United States? And do you think that will also influence the Africans?
Well, look, it will not sit well. Certainly, it will not sit well with the group,
yeah,
the LGBT group. And it's also a contradiction of what Trump said when he said that he's a unifier and that his role is to unify the people of the United States. Its role is to make peace with the rest of the world. Now, if you want to unify your country, you have to take into account the feelings, the emotion, the culture, you know, of all the people in the United States. Look, it is difficult for some of us to understand this gay business, why people are gay and why they decide that that's an alternative lifestyle. We don't know, you know. But the fact of the matter is that it has become they have become a large community within the United States of America. And previous governments, particularly democratic governments, have decided to recognize the fact that these are people, they are Americans.
Establish connection with my guests, and when I return, the conversation will continue again. Stay with me, I'll be right back. This is Real Talk with Kike. All right. Many thanks for staying with us. So, will I say glad to still have you connected with us. In case you're just joining the show, today's conversation is about the implications of Donald Trump's second term from his Middle East diplomacy and its impact on global stability to the future of U.S.-African relations, and of course, including trade, immigration, and security. And with me today, unpacking all the key global dynamics and their ripple effect on Africa, you know, is Ambassador Joe Keshi. And of course, he has been, you know, giving us all sorts of sight to all the critical issues. I want to say many thanks to Ambassador Keshi, you know, for creating time to lend his voice on issues that affect us all. But let me use this opportunity to quickly open the phone lines. You know, remember that you can be part of this conversation, you know, by calling the studio number. It will be showing on your screen right now because we've changed our number. I do not know it right now. And of course, you know, we're streaming live on Facebook, both on Real Talk with Kike platform and on Silverbird platform. You can be part of it. And we have a lot of content on YouTube on Real Talk with Kike as well. So you can create time to watch all the informative, you know, content on YouTube. Sir, are you there? Do we have the guest now, please? All right, we're still having issues connecting with our... Sir, are you there, sir?
I'm here. Can you hear me? I can hear you loud and clear.
No, I can hear you, but I can't see you. I can't... Okay, I can sight you now. Fantastic. Many thanks, sir.
I'm on. I can see myself even.
Yeah, we just sighted you now, but Okay, moving on, sir. Earlier you were talking about, conversing about the LGBTQ community. I like the fact that you were throwing more light on the fact that, Trump claimed to be the unifier and bringing joy to America. But with Trump's strict immigration stance, do you think that it could lead to deportation of Africans in the U.S.? What would be the economic and the social consequences for Africa, particularly regarding the remittance and the FDI? And the reason why I'm also bringing this into form, maybe I should tweak it with Trump's second term that began, with a ceasefire deal in Gaza. He accused the Democrat of a horrible betrayal of our people. He threatened to change the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America and take back the Panama Canal, which he called a foolish gift to Panama. So how do you assess his approach to Middle East diplomacy, and what implications might this have, for global stability at large? Are you with me, sir?
Well, Trump now has the responsibility of implementing the peace accord. Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead, sir.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Good. Okay. With regard, let me start with your first observation, immigration. Look, I think that I might be wrong, but I think that when Trump was talking of immigration, I don't think that Africa was particularly within that radius. I think he was looking at the people from Latin America, especially those that crosses through Mexico into America. Of course, if there are Nigerians who have gone through that route, they'll probably be affected by this massive deportation that he's planning. But by and large, in the last couple of years, I think more Nigerians have gone to Canada than they've gone to the United States.
Okay.
So we just have to wait and see how many Nigerians will be affected. But I think they'll probably be very small, except if I'm wrong, for the simple reason that he is particularly keen on stopping people from Latin America getting into, and this is why he wants to close the southern border. He wants to close the border with California, and all those hotspots where people from Latin America enter, the United States illegally. Those are his main concern for now. Now, I'm not saying there are not illegal Nigerians in the United States. There are. But I do not think that they are the focus. They might be victims of what Trump wants to do for now, but they are not the focus of his attention. On the Middle East, look, he now has the responsibility. He now has the responsibility of implementing the peace accord. What he did the last time did not help the situation, and the Biden administration tried to correct it. And I'm sure he's going to reverse that decision made by the Biden administration from moving the capital of Israel to Jerusalem. The Biden administration moved it back to Tel Aviv. So we wait and see. But the honest truth is that if he really wants to leave a legacy, he should adopt an even hand and see how he can, be recognized as a true peacemaker by taking into consideration the two sides in the dispute. What the Middle East needs today is Israel with a guaranteed security and the Palestinians a homeland of their own as an independent state. If he can push that, I think the world will recognize him as a great world leader. But I doubt, because he is 100% committed to Israel. And that's where it is frightening that whether he can implement this accord and then go on and read, because this accord is expected to last for about 3 months or thereabout. Then they will now go into another negotiation for a final settlement. Now, whether Trump will be fair-minded or even-handed to deal with that second aspect of the peace accord, again, we just have to wait and see. But we all know his commitment. his commitment is to Israel and very little commitment to the Arab states or to the Palestinian people.
Many thanks again for that elaborate submission right there. But, you know, Trump has withdrawn from the Paris Agreement, stating that it saves the U.S. trillions of dollars. Sir, how will this decision impact Africa, you know, a continent already grappling with, you know, severe climate challenges and have been supported under the Paris Agreement? What's your take on this quickly?
You see, it's just ironic because climate change is real. And the sooner the United States understand, the sooner Donald Trump and some members of the Republican Party stop denying that it is real, because it's affecting America. It's changing America seriously. Look, I lived in Atlanta for about 6 or so years, and I can't remember when we had snow as severe as it is today. Quite a number of, some of the southern states where they don't even experience, snow, are having problem this time around with massive, snowfall. California is, what's going on in California, the wildfire. Just before Christmas, you know what happened in the Florida, North Carolina
yes.
Area, all those areas, up to, yes, they suffered from, what do they call this now? Tornadoes and flooding and the rest of it. So whether we like it or not, climate change, it's real. And the only way to address it is for people to recognize that it is real and work with the rest of the global community to find a solution to that. And they've been trying to do their best. So withdrawing from it does not mean that the rest of that it will collapse. No, it will not collapse. The Paris Agreement will not collapse because other nations have recognized that it's important that they address climate change. And they will go ahead and address it. Sometime when a new government comes in, they might return. After all, Trump withdrew from WHO. Joe Biden came back and restored America, put back America into WHO. And I can see that happening again within the next 4 years. But the truth of the matter is that Americans will continue to cooperate with these organizations one way or the other, but they won't be members.
All right. Many thanks.
Hello.
Hello, I can hear you now. Many thanks again. The network is pretty bad today, But if you can hear me, this might be my last question to you, just on a lighter note, because
hello.
I can hear you loud and clear. So can you hear me? All right. Unfortunately, I don't think I can continue the conversation with our guests. Let's move to the last segment of the show, which is the trending stories. I wish I could just touch on quite a number of things regarding young population, from African nations' positions, and of course, with quite a number of issues, regarding some of the challenges at hand, that how people view Donald Trump's administration and all of that. But, the network is pretty much very erratic today. So I'll be moving to the last segment of the show, which is the trending stories. And my first trending story, that caught my attention was that of the Spanish Prime Minister that proposes to, property purchase ban for Nigerians and other non-EU nationals to combat, rising housing costs, And first off, I would like to address this misleading headline circulating in Nigerian media space, especially when it comes to the bloggers. I feel that, the Spanish Prime Minister that proposes, the property purchase ban for Nigerians and other non-EU nationals, this headline is unfair, if you ask me. It puts Nigeria in a negative light and contributes to the, the growing issues of sensationalism, in Nigerians' blogging and journalism. Such captions, if you ask me, can have damage effect on the country's reputation, especially when they make or take the context out of the news, or news of balance. It's important for us to note that the Spanish Prime Minister, policy proposal is not specifically targeting Nigerians, or how will I put it, but rather a broader demographic, non-EU nationals, in an effort to protect Spain's housing market from, speculative real estate investment. This is a domestic policy, in terms of the move, to aim at addressing rising housing costs, protecting Spain's economy and ensuring that there's affordability with their housing for its citizens. And I don't see anything wrong in that, but, framing it as an attack on Nigerian, distorts, I don't know that kind of narrative. It's like, which is one of the points that I feel that my guest earlier, was trying to buttress regarding, when I asked him a question on the policies, if it will affect Nigerians with all these birthrights and the likes, if some people will be deported and all of that. I feel that as journalists, as bloggers, onus is on us to be careful so that we don't create unnecessary tensions. Second is that while it is true that Nigerians are increasingly investing in real estate abroad, including in Spain, the question arises, who are these investors? Where is the funding coming from? Unfortunately, a significant number of these investments are linked to politicians. I keep it real on this platform. Politicians and individuals whose wealth often comes under scrutiny due to lack of transparency or allegation of corruption. Namely, such actions give credence to policies like this, because the inflation of housing market in foreign countries while the housing sector in Nigeria remains underdeveloped and riddled down with challenges. However, it's also worth noting that there's nothing wrong in Nigerians investing in real estate abroad, because, if you're not guilty of the foul play, some are genuinely looking to secure their wealth, diversifying their investment, or even ensure that there's residency opportunities for their families. The larger issue lies in the systematic governance challenges within Nigeria that push citizens to seek alternative elsewhere, from real estate to education to, security to healthcare. Nonetheless, bloggers particularly and media platforms must embrace, ethical reporting. Many a time I've seen quite a number of people who say to me, oh, Kike, say this so that you will trend. I have a corporate organization where I facilitate training for top organizations. And I did not just stumble on this profession. I read mass communication in school. 2 decades ago, I graduated from, one of the prestigious universities, went abroad to learn about all these, subjects. It's not that I just fell into media, so to speak. So headlines should reflect the actual context of the story and avoid unnecessary sensational news that could harm the country's image. Nigeria should focus on building a robust and transparent economy, particularly in the real estate sector. Leaders must tackle this housing crisis at home to discourage capital, from seen in real estate investment abroad. No, it's I'm trying to manage my emotions right now, but it is essential to hold the government accountable for, for providing basic amenities, affordable housing, and of course infrastructure. This will reduce the need for Nigerians, to seek those opportunities abroad. It's just unfortunate that this keeps happening, and, you see how bloggers just put sensational headlines. I've seen many people who tell me sometimes the way I write my captions is too lengthy, is too educative. People, my dear, everybody has their niche. You don't have to follow me. So can we do better? I wish that there could be, policies guiding us in this profession. Unfortunately, I think that's all I can take on that story. But quickly, let me jump on the second trending story, which is the Catholic father that was suspended from the priesthood over secret wedding in US. When I saw this, I don't know if my technical team can quickly play this for those who have not seen it. I've seen it on trending. It's been flying everywhere. And I was wondering, with all of this, that this case of Reverend Father Daniel Ogenarukuwe. I hope I pronounced that last name properly for my Igbo people. You know, highlight the tensions between personal desires and institutional obligations, particularly within religious communities. Every religion operates under specific norms, you know, under doctrines and practices that I feel that, you know, it's one is expected to uphold. You know, for Catholic priests, you know, the vow of celibacy is one which such that, you know, in terms of principles, you must hold it sacred in terms of the commitment to their faith and their vocation. So it is important to acknowledge that no one imposes religion on anyone, because with some of the comments that I saw online, I was wondering, did they impose religion on him? You know, choosing to become a priest involves an understanding of the rules, of the values, and the sacrifice that comes with the role. So in this stance for Father Daniel, he was aware of the lifelong commitment to being a celibacy. You know, he made that he made when he was ordained in 2008, according to the report that I read. You know, the church's decision to suspend him from being a priest, you know, in terms of his duties as a priest, is therefore, as far as I'm concerned, you know, it follows the doctrine of their church, which I feel breached the sacred vows that he took in 2008. So, at the same time, I feel that the priest's humanity cannot be ignored. Like every person, you know, he has emotions, he has physical need, including, you know, companionship and intimacy. You know, the claims made by his sister online about the struggles with loneliness, with mental health, brings to light the challenges many priests faces. Mental health is a serious issue, and the feelings of isolation can be profoundly damaging, if you ask me, especially for those serving in, you know, demanding roles without family support or community support, you know, and all. So, but, however, this does not excuse secretly violating the church norms while remaining a member of its clergy. I feel that Father Daniel, you know, felt that he could no longer leave the alignment with the church expectations. The more appropriate thing that he could have done is to be transparent with his dealings and request for a formal release from his priesthood obligations before pursuing marriage. Religion is not forced by anyone. I repeat itself again. And those who feel that they can no longer uphold their faith roles are free to excommunicate themselves or leave. In terms of broader implications and suggestions, the church needs to reevaluate how it supports its clergy, particularly in addressing, you know, emotional and mental health issues. Priests are humans, let's be real, and they need, you know, a system that fosters or help them to open up. Openness about struggles without fear of judgment or punitive action. Those who chooses religion or religious vocations must understand the gravity of their commitment. While personal challenges may arise, I feel that responsibility and transparency, you know, or accountability are essential when deciding to step away from their vows. You should have just carried the church along and just step down. You know, I feel that those are the issues that I saw with this and all of that. And the fact that in this side of town, in our world, we have not taken mental health seriously. You know, and in as much as I don't want to excuse all that he has done because of some of the things that the sister have raised, I just feel that mental health is one of the things that I feel churches must pay attention to, even for their pastors and the community at large. Quickly, I don't know if my guest is still there, if we've been able to reconnect with him. Okay, unfortunately, I understand that he's no longer there. The network has been so erratic today. I wish that I could get a lot of perspective from his end, but, you know, with that, indeed, we try to have, you know, a good show today, but, you know, network was erratic. But I want to say many thanks to my resourceful guest, Ambassador Joe Keshi. You know, many thanks again for creating time, for honoring my invitation, you know, to be here. I wish him the very best as he continues to forge ahead and lend his voice on issues that affect us all. Till I come your way on Thursday on the Silverbird Television. Remember to catch me live tomorrow at Inspiration FM 92.3. Your drive time talk show, Real Talk with Kike, will be coming live. Now we'll be connecting with you. You do not want to miss tomorrow's show. Stay with me till I come your way on Thursday, but catch me tomorrow at 5 p.m. Bye now.